all of you beautiful people. So, today is another Friday, and we are on chapter 5. Are you excited? I'm excited, because this is where most of, my favorite things sorta start happening. And also, you don't think Summer is the only one that's going to be coming here. I mean, Winter was the only one that, wanted to, make Summer go away. I mean, maybe April owns a portal gun, too. We don't know, guys. I'm just saying. Anyway, alright, I've talked enough. Here you go. Chapter 5 of Book 2. Chapter 5. Are you a ghost? Summer asked, and the boy nodded. I love my brother, and I've always followed him all his life, so he doesn't have to be alone, the boy said. And I like the idea of telling him that I've always been there. He scoffed blankly, looking at Summer. Summer nodded. Is Vex your brother? She asked, kneeling down with a smile. No, he said with a big smile. Garashi is, he said. Summer sat there and looked at him. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, it would be nice.
No more ghosts besides us.
Garashi would love it.
Cool.
Oh, he's adorable. Garashi would love it if he did it.
Oh,
totally
do
ignore
it.
them
Why
all.
does he look like
Vex
Aww.
then? All of the voices in Summer's head mixed her up. Okay, she said. Then she got Garashi into a room with his brother, all alone. Are you okay? Garashi asked, concerned about the warm grin on Summer's face. I have a surprise, and you'll love it, she said softly. Then she knelt down, gesturing to Garashi to get closer, too. She reached out to the little ghost, and she watched him form from her. Look, she whispered, pointing to Garashi. The boy slowly turned around, and Garashi was confused. Garashi, this is Orishan, your brother, Garashi said warmly, looking at him with her orange eyes glittering. Orishan smiled and hugged Garashi, and Garashi just stared at her for a moment. I just wanted to say I was always here for you, Garashi, and you were never really alone, Orishan said. Then Garashi broke into tears. He hugged Orishan for 2 minutes, and Summer had one finger on him just so that he would stay. None of them are permanent, Garashi, Summer worried.
Wait!
You are so lame!
How dare you!
Kill them.
Maybe you could try it.
You're being
Who
rude to her.
cares about
I think
you?
that's all they really needed.
Weak.
Meh. Summer's mind spiraled. Garashi nodded. Thank you. No, we need to tell everyone else, Garashi said, wiping his tears. Orishan smiled and looked at Garashi as he faded from view. Garashi smiled back and watched Orishan fade away. Garashi and Summer quickly ran to everyone else, where Azzy was showing a few of them her magic. Azzy, we need to talk, Garashi shouted, running up to them. Azzy smiled at Summer and Garashi.
Yeah, what's up?
She said, petting Tide. Summer, we need Islia too, Garashi said softly. I'll go get her, you tell Azzy, he added, patting Summer's back. Freya and Coral came up with Vex and Mataro, but Raxon watched from a distance. I brought Azzy back for 2 days, Summer started. I can't revive ghosts, I don't think, she said softly, holding her demon hand. So we only have this afternoon? Azzy asked softly. Freya looked at Azzy, but Azzy still had a smile. Then let's make the most of it, she said, smiling at Freya. Freya hugged her and smiled softly. Then everyone else joined the hug as well. Islia was told the same thing, but she had a very different reaction. Humph, she can, but her life would be taken if she did, Islia huffed annoyedly. And? So you want her to kill yourself for you? You already had a life, Garashi growled. Summer didn't like Islia, and now she felt very scared at how Islia was looking at her. "Maybe," Islia said coldly. Then Vex had to hold Garashi back from him trying to attack Islia. Summer got scared, so she flicked her tail and a flare of fire at Islia. She slowly faded. "Really?" Islia yelled. She charged at Summer, but was too faded to do anything. Summer still screamed a little, defending herself by holding her arms out. Garashi stopped and grabbed Summer. "You're okay," he whispered. "I never thought Islia would do that," Azzy said, wrapping her arm around Freya. They had a picnic, and at the end they all said goodbye to Azzy. "I'm always here, okay?" Azzy said, sniffing back a tear. She hugged Freya. They all gave hugs. Then Azzy gave Summer a hug. But Azzy was fading away. Summer heard one last thing. "Go home now. Someone needs you," Azzy whispered warmly. Then Summer ended up hugging herself. She stood there, listening to all the voices in her head.
Wasn't that so rude?
Yeah, you should go back.
Kiss Garashi again! Kill something
How do we even get back from that leave?
The voices scattered. Garashi touched Summer's shoulder, taking her out of her trance. "Are you okay? What did she say?" he asked. Garashi looked at him, then her hand. "She told me to go to my home," Summer said. "Nicely, though," she added, so Garashi wouldn't get mad. "Can you?" he asked. "I don't think so," she responded sadly. "Well then, that's kind of a dumb thing to say," he scoffed sarcastically, looking around as if the air was listening. They stayed out until dark, going to bed after watching the stars for a few hours.
Go on a rampage!
Sleep. Meh.
What is
Wow, it is
Rax
really
April
late.
thinking of you?
Titans, was that
Can
a
nice
mouse?
guy
What would
Rax
Rax
on
do?
behind me?
Gods, go to
Kill
sleep.
something!
Summer's mind raced, keeping her awake. So she wandered the halls instead. She walked around until she heard people yelling. Summer slowly walked to the arch that opened up to the peach orchard, where she saw a way too familiar group of people coming out of something. She flicked the arrow on her tail, and it started a small fire so she could see. One small figure yelped by seeing Summer, and another grumbled. The last one grabbed out a sword, and when he shook it, it shone blue, illuminating Winter's face. Summer smiled, but it vanished when she realized what he came to do. "Winter?" Summer squeaked, still having hope. "Summer!" she heard June and April shout. Summer swished her tail, stopping the fire. Then she jumped up into the trees. "Winter, don't!" April shouted as he tried hitting Summer with his sword. He would throw the sword, then it would shoot back into his hand. "Coral!" Summer shouted, hoping he would hear her. "Who?" June peeped. Summer quickly jumped in front of April and hugged her. "You were supposed to die, you demon!" Winter shouted. Summer turned around just as he threw his sword, but luckily Summer caught it. She shouted as the metal burned her skin. "Dramalite? Really?" Summer said, pretending to be fine. "Well, I'm hunting a demon, so yeah!" Winter chuckled. Summer surprisingly controlled her fire and caught fire on her own will. "Don't burn the plants," she thought. Then she looked back at April and June with a sad look. "Summer," June said. "Don't kill him," she whimpered. Summer dropped her guard. I wouldn't..." She stopped to dodge Winter's blade. "Coral!" she shouted again, pleading that it would wake him. April looked at Summer with fear, thinking about all of the stories of humans turning into demons. Summer was just like all of the stories. A person gets possessed, slowly the demon takes their memories away and eats their insides. Then the demon hunts down the victim's loved ones and eats them too, laying eggs in their body. But April still wanted to be Summer's friend, and this time it was different. Summer was controlling herself, unless it was the trick part. Surely it wasn't. "Stop, Winter!" Summer shouted again, grabbing his sword. She was dragged towards him. Then once Winter was close enough, he punched her off. April fell on a rock. Her forehead split open and she was knocked out. "No!" Summer cried, with her eyes locking on Winter's angry expression. She ran at him, dodging his sword. "Coral!" she yelled again, dying down her fire to grab April. "Stop resisting!" Winter growled. He stomped over, but was swooped up into the air from Coral. He was thrown into the lake. Then Coral landed majestically in front of June. "Summer, are you okay?" he chuckled concerningly. June backed away from Coral. "Summer, who is this?" she stammered. Summer picked up April and walked over to Coral. "Can we heal her?" she asked. June yelped and ran to Summer's side. "What is that?" she peeped. "Excuse me?" Coral chuckled at June's question, then leaned over to look at April. "I think a small wound like this would be easy," Coral mused, running his fingers down April's face and smearing the blood. Summer handed April to Coral, and he took her off to the healers. "June, come with me," Summer said, smiling. June hesitated, but took her hand. How are we getting back?" she asked. Summer didn't answer and took June to her room to explain. In the morning, April woke up with Mataro, Freya, Vex, and Garashi chatting excitedly. "Hey, she's awake!" Mataro beamed, coming over and sitting April up. "Hey, chill out, Mataro," Vex chuckled, pulling her away. "Where's Winter and June?" April asked wearily, rubbing her eyes. Freya smiled. "They're fine. June is with Summer and Winter is in a dungeon cell," she said warmly. April sat up more. "Is Summer okay?" she asked, starting to stand up and walk out. "She's better," Garashi said blankly. Then he guided April to the peach orchard, where Summer was wrestling with a couple Minotaur kids, and June was sitting on a boulder, journaling. Summer lit up when she saw April. "April, you're okay!" she shouted, running over to hug. But Summer stopped when April flinched away. "Oh, right, I'm a monster. Yeah," Summer said, blushing and brushing her hair out of her eyes. Garashi noticed the stronger bond they had between themselves. It was definitely stronger than the relationship Garashi had with her.
Whoa, eat her.
I like
She
her.
looks so sweet.
Can we kiss her
She
too?
smells so good.
Good smells means delicious.
Summer's mind was so full of voices that it gave her a headache. "Summer, are you okay?" April asked, almost looking scared. Garashi walked up to her and knelt into Summer's view. "Tell me if you need anything, okay?" he said quietly. Summer nodded and looked at April. "I understand. Summer, you're in pain, and I keep looking at you funny and avoiding you. That's not helping, is it?" Summer said, blushing and looking at the ground. "No, I mean, it's okay. You've already been forgiven. You're fine," Summer stuttered, scratching her head. Suddenly, a Lyasog, a lion-like dragon, burst into the orchard. June screamed, but stopped and stood there in fear. The Lyasog flipped out its frill and shook it. "We need to help them!" April shouted. "Don't look at its markings! It'll paralyze you!" Vex shouted, going into his fox form. Because demons don't get paralyzed, apparently. Garashi ran to get June and the other kids out of the way. "April, stay here," Summer said, holding April's shoulders and sitting her down on a rock. She ran at the beast with her fire blazing out everywhere. It clawed at her many times, but Vex kept slashing at the beast. Freya jumped out into her fox form and helped attack the dragon too. but it finally ripped fire from its maw. "Get everyone out of here!" Vex yelled, shoving ice into its nose. Summer dodged the claws, except one that ripped off her necklace. "Oh no," Freya thought, grabbing her out of the way. "Summer!" April shouted. She ran to help, but Summer was still burning.
Kill!
Attack and destroy!
Oh, come on, let April help.
You're going to change! What's happening
Kill
right
the
now?
dragon!
Summer's head blasted with voices, but she started feeling pain like before. "No! April, run!" Summer screamed. She felt her insides churn, and more scales ripped out of her skin. Her tongue turned yellow. "Summer, I'm not leaving!" April shouted over the roaring dragon. Summer heard one voice in her head. "Shh, pain is strength. You can do it," he whispered. "Summer, use your pain to control your power. You're changing, but that's more than okay," he continued. She started calming down. Barely. And that is all for Chapter 5 of Part 1 of Book 2, Flaming Demons. So that was fun. So Summer's ex-boyfriend is now in a dungeon, and it looks like there's a dragon. Well, if you guys checked out the WE logs, that is where you would probably end up finding Lyasog information if you want it. It is technically really just like the Vertod's version of a lion, except for the fact that its mane has a bunch of markings that can paralyze you and blah blah blah, which I haven't done WE logs in a while, mostly because nobody watches them and I'm kind of just meh, but I will try to do more of them. Anyway, that's all for Friday today.
Bye.